Hello, hello. How are you? Happy December 29th. I tell you what, every time I say the date, I'm shocked. But who would have thought that this fall went by in a flash? I mean, it's crazy. So, how are you? And do you realize that by next Wednesday, it's going to be 2025? My hair is sticking up crazy here. Got to smash it down a little. Oh, well, that's what happens when I wash it right before I come on the show. It was so funny. So we were sitting, upstairs, and I went, oh no, I didn't make a placeholder because when you go to cancel a show, you have to delete the current placeholder. I wish you could just like step it back and but leave it so that when you reschedule it, it'll be there. But I didn't realize, oh, it's gone. So I thought, well, I can't make one that's gonna okay, now it's on when there wasn't one before. So I pushed it back an hour. And so I'm coming downstairs and got my hair in curlers, and I look at the clock and go, it's 3 minutes to 4. Now you're going to be late. So sometimes thinking that you have lots of time is a very bad thing. So I am so sorry. I was like, oh my goodness. So I said, you should just go on without makeup. And then I said, I will definitely scare those children. So I don't really have a big complex show planned for today. We're just going to kind of chat and I'll show you a couple things. And it's going to be low key today because that's how I'm feeling. I don't know about y'all, but it's getting harder and harder to do all the Christmassy stuff. And so I told myself, just get through my obligations and then I'm going to do nothing. Now, when I say nothing, the dogs still need taken care of and the birds need fed. And, you got to have something to have for dinner. But besides that, I was going to be very nice. Let me try to get this set up better. I haven't used it in a while. So, yay. Well, the first thing I'm going to show you is I can't wait to see all who's here. I'll be checking that in just a minute. When I've had any time late in the evening, when I'm not having to do other things to prepare for the holidays or to make the gifts, I did a little something just for me. And that was doing these dot mandala Christmas ornaments. So I was just going to show you that I take a clear plastic ornament, and these are just plastic, they're not glass. And then I pour black acrylic paint inside. And this is what actually takes a little while because it's very slow. You don't want it so thin because then I got impatient and I thinned some of the paints. And I don't know if you can see, but the paint came off the front. It was so thin. And when you look sideways, you can kind of see through it. Where one like this, when you look sideways, you can't see anything through it. You can only see how that is solid. So be careful when you get impatient and you think, I'll thin the paint so it'll go all around faster. Well, then, in fact, you can even look at that. See where the paint came off the wall? So what I need to do with this one to have it look as pretty as it needs to be, here is this one. I need to take and put some more black paint inside. And so I pour the paint, probably about 2 teaspoons of black paint. And now if it's really thick, you can put a little touch of water, but don't put too much. And but anyway, and I just kind of sit and I turn it and let it slowly. And if I'm going to paint a couple of these the same color, I'll put extra paint in the first one, because then what I will do when it comes to the second one needing paint, I'll put them together like this and hold them and let one drip down into the other. But this is very inexpensive. You just let it run all around till you feel like everything's covered. It's okay if a little bit right around the hole is not fully covered, because then what I do is I take a piece of styrofoam that I've put paper towels on and put bamboo skewers or long toothpicks, and then I just set this on the bamboo skewer, on top of the paper towels, on top of the styrofoam, and usually my paint, my silicone painting sheet. And I let it just sit like this for at least 24 hours. This is not something you can really do at the last minute. And that's why you'll see some of the little white paper sticking by the opening, because it sticks to the paper towel just a little. But this is fully dry inside. And what's good to do is to look in through the bottom and make sure the paint has stuck to everything. Sometimes what I'll do, if I have the time, is I'll take it off the skewer and kind of run it around a little bit, because when you put it immediately on the skewer, it all wants to run to the bottom. So sometimes it's good to kind of just let it slowly take its time. And then once I take it off of, once the majority of the paint has come out of the tip of it, then I'll take it and lay it on its side so more air can get into the little opening and help dry the paint inside. So altogether, if you're really going to do this, I would give it 2 to 3 days of process. The one thing you don't want is to be painting it and have some of the black paint come out onto your hands while you're in the middle of painting. So let me see. This might have been the first one that I did once I thought I had them ready. But what I do is I get out my paints that I want to use, and they're in little sealed cups that I mix them myself. And I found that if you want a prettier look, if you don't want the paints to flatten out or to warp or run funny, I ordered this tube of acrylic medium gloss gel, and I found it on Amazon. And I'm going to try to carefully score it up some. Okay, see it? It looks white, but it's really translucent. It won't lighten the color any. But what it does is just the translucent acrylic, the body of the paint without any color in it. And I have found this really helps. Before, I was trying to use some of the liquid textile medium, but I wanted something that would make the paint kind of be a little puffier where it stands out from the ornament. And I'm still working on getting the texture just right, but this is definitely doing a good job. And I have some of the dot painter things, which are just um, some of the tools are like stainless steel with a little ball on the end that's the diameter of the circle you want to make. Some of them have a wooden handle and a little bit of metal on them. Some are all like plastic, a hard plastic, and I'm having a little harder time getting used to those. And it's a matter of making dots, and in some cases making little swirls. Now I think this one's all dots, but it's very easy. And what you do, if you're putting dot painting around it, the first dot's going to be the most perfect, the roundest. Then if you keep going, the dots will automatically get smaller and smaller. So let me show you. You can see some of the white dots, but especially those gold ones. I did those really well. Okay. So it's really the dog's inside the blanket. She loves getting lost. Yep. I see Blossom. She loves tunneling the little Shih Tzu and loves tunneling under a blanket. And then the little poodle looks at her like, "You're crazy." So that was the first one I did. Then this one, now I haven't done some of the cleanup since I'm still new to this. My dots and my swirls aren't always perfect. So I'll go back, take a little wooden toothpick and kind of clean up what I don't like. But I think all in all, it's pretty. Right now, since I'm still a beginner, mine are prettier from farther away. And if you look too close, you start to see some mistakes. But see over here, there are these little lines, and that's because I take a white acrylic, very fine line pen, and before I do any painting, I make tick marks, like to show half, quarter, eighth, 16th circles to help me keep the same distance away to make it a lot more uniform. And oh well, thank you, Miss Mary. It's neat too. Oh, I'm loving that you like watching the dogs play. I'm happy down here when I'm talking to you, and because of that, they get happy. Grammy always lays under my desk, and he loves being down here with me because he said this is Mama's happy place. But anyway, but this one had a lot of swirls in it, and I find that if the colors are complementary, this was like 4 different blues and a lime green and a pearl white and lots of dots. But sadly, the dots, I had done some pretty good swirls in this one, and the dots kind of hid the swirls. So I'm going to keep trying. But I tend to be, since I'm new to it, I tend to be heavy handed and not patient. And it does take a little bit of patience. And if you're ever painting and it really doesn't look good, then take a paper towel and wipe it off. So, and then if you wet the paper towel, it'll take it off real good. Here's one I did that I have not cleaned it up. The dots look pretty good, but the swirls at the top and bottom look awful. Now, I like showing you my mistakes. Like, see these? The paint started to dry. And if that happens, what I do is stick my finger in clear water and just let a drop of paint drop off my finger into the little paint pot. But they will dry if they're left open. Try to keep your paint colors closed. In fact, I took off one of the white dots around the center because it was crooked, and I'm going to retouch that up. But you can I find that the toothpick works the best. Now, what I'm going to do for these outside, one of the reasons those swirls look so bad, well, there's lots of reasons they look so bad, but one of the reasons is because I kept trying to mess with them to get them smoother. That doesn't work, because once the acrylic paint gets a little skin on it, they dry so fast. It might only be 30 seconds. It'll have a little skin on it. When you try to then take the tool and smooth it, it digs trenches in it. And that's what you're seeing the little trenches I dug. So what I can do is take a little piece of sandpaper and sand it smooth. Now, the reason you want to sand it smooth is because you can't get a smooth new layer of paint if it's all bumpy, lumpy, because your tool will kind of bounce across it. So I'm just going to take an emery board. I have some great emery boards that are kind of reusable. You can evidently clean them off and keep using them. So they're big, big black ones, and they're wonderful. And I'll just use that, and I will smooth down the paint, then redo the paint with nice fresh paint. So, and I love using the metallic paints that I got for Christmas, I think last year or the year before. But once I clean up the edges, it'll be a little bit better. I think I like smaller designs on these. So, oh, wow. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, and what I like about these is I have a little tray with my most liked colors in the little cups. That and a mug of tools and paper towels, and I just kind of, while we're watching TV, I sit and do these. So now all these three that I showed you, I saw a YouTube video and followed it. And now that I've learned the basics of doing the swirls and the dots and things, I can just look at what the design they have is, and I know how she did it. But at first, for a while, I would watch every YouTube video and stop and do that part and then start and then stop. But now, last night, my computer was acting up and Windows 11 wanted to do a update and reboot. And then all I had was a black screen. So Mark went and looked on his computer and found out, oh, yeah, that's kind of a common occurrence when you're updating your Windows 11. So he just kept pushing the button until, voila, the screen came back up and here we are. But there was a little worry. Let me tell you, I feel so lost without my laptop. I would rather do without almost any appliance than lose control of my laptop. So I could not get online to look up a pattern. I made my own pattern. So that I thought, okay, I'm getting there. I'm starting to understand what looks good, what doesn't. And so in this one, and one thing that's kind of fun to do is that the center is violet with a very dark violet blue dot in the center. So I'm learning. Now you'll see a whole bunch of little tiny dots. I'm going to take the toothpick and carefully kind of just flick them off. That was for the orientation lines and points. Sometimes instead of drawing a solid line, I'll just make little tiny dots. So this needs to be cleaned up. You can see all the registration dots. And I love finishing the edge like this. So it's a lot of fun, but now see where I have that one dot smeared, so I've got to chip that off and get that right. But I'm getting there, and my little swirls are doing a little bit better by a little bit better. And I'm kind of funny. I don't like it when I try a new craft and I have to actually work at it and I have to actually practice. But it's worth it now what I'm seeing. So these are an inexpensive way to do this hobby, and you put the paint, the black background or whatever background you can put on the inside. I've tried to paint these on white backgrounds and a blue background, but I find the black is my favorite because it's so distinctive. And it's important to leave the black around each dot so that it really stands out. Oh, you love that one? Thank you, sweetheart. So, um, so I'll bring you down, the camera down, so you can see these together. But you can buy, especially check on sale. But I like these little, they're not a full ball, they're easier to hold and maneuver. And you can buy a pack of like 25 of them for $10, $15. And if you get them on sale, that's the key. But I find that these are pretty inexpensive. I also got some 5x5 canvas boards, flat boards that I can use to do flat things like this. But here is what I've been working on the last 2 weeks. This one's ready for tonight's adventure. But all in all, I'm real happy with them. And just take your time. But if one of these doesn't turn out, it's not like I've lost much time. And I could probably, since the ball itself is a slick plastic surface, probably could put these in nice warm soapy water. The design I could then scrub off and use them again. So, because I'm pretty cheap. Yep. So I have been keeping these in my new bag that my daughter Katie gave me. And I love this bag. I love everything Grinchy. And I love too that she went to a craft fair and a man had made these and she wanted to support him. And, I love everything Grinch. So I keep these in here and I like using plastic balls. I wouldn't want to use glass because sometimes I hold them so tightly that if I'm nervous about it, I wouldn't want one breaking in my hand. So yay for clear plastic. But I wanted to tell you, this is called US Art Supply. It was the cheapest version. This is like 8 ounces and I got it for $8 or something because I am pretty cheap. Now, let's say you wanted to just try. You've got some acrylic paints and you have some little things that can be used as little decorative tools, little dots, because you can use pretty much anything. You can use the end of pencils. I'm trying to find one of my, you can use skewers that have an end on them, anything like that, and just you dip it into the paint and dot it down. And to make the dot a little bit bigger, you can do it, dip it, and touch it a couple of times. But look for anything that has round ends, like this pen cap. You could use, well, that's not round, but the pen is. So just look around, see what you have. And now these might leave a little bit of a hole where you put the paint, but straws, whatever. So let's say I don't want to spend $8 for a tube of gel medium. And that makes the gel medium makes the paint go on smoother. It also helps viscosity. And I just learned about that word recently. And it's the ability, viscosity is kind of like water tension. You know how you'll have a drop of water that sits up like this. And as long as you don't touch it, it'll stay like that. That's viscosity. Viscosity it's that tension in whatever liquid that holds it together. So that gel medium helps because then it makes the paint much easier to work with. And it makes it hold a nice little, instead of just flattening, it'll hold a nice little ball shape on your ornament. And to me, that's prettier. So, okay, I'm going to see who's here, and then we'll come talk about a few more things. So, because we've got a fun week coming up. Got a fun week. Oh, there's Mare. I saw her name right off. Well, let me go back and see who is here. I'm so tickled to see you. And I do apologize that in the rush of Christmas, I forgot to put a placeholder. Oh, also, I want to ask your permission or your forgiveness because I found out I finally got it all set up so that I can get monetized. And I'm a small channel. And now that Mark is retiring, I thought I'd like to get monetized. So I don't, because we're fixed income for sure now. And it's going to be a wee bit tighter, but not bad. But I thought when I use postage and mail things out, or when I want to buy a book about a technique that I'd like to teach you, it'd be nice to know that I'm doing it from my own earned money. So I hope you won't mind. Please, I hope you'll understand. You might not, it might be too frustrating, but I would like it to have commercials in the live stream itself. The reason is, oh, I see the sun going down. It is beautiful. I doubt you're going to be able to see it, but it's just a little yellow ball. Let me see if I can turn this around. Whoops. Nope, let it. Okay. Stay. Let's see. It's right in front of the camper. Oh, it's not showing up. Up, and it kind of already went down. Well, I got you nauseous for no reason, but it was so pretty, and I love showing you something. If I see something pretty, I love sharing it. But it was a yellowish with a slight peach, and it was a half moon shape over top the trees. It was so pretty. All right. Now, what was that? Oh, okay. Okay. And then I've got to go back to one thing about the dot mandala painting. You could even use the heads of pens and stick them into something like the head of this pen would make a wonderful tool for dot painting if you just want to try it out. Okay. Um now I'm forgetting everything. Showing you the thing, but I was talking to you about. Well, let me tell you real quick. If you wanted to try the dot mandala without buying much stuff, then I was going to say if you wanted to thicken it, you could take and cook in just plain water and cornstarch and cook it, gently stirring it until it thickens, and use that to mix in your paint. Now, I don't know how long it lasts or how well it does. I was thinking about doing that way because I'm so cheap, but it's kind of nice now that, you know what? That wasn't the sun down there. It's still up here. I still want to show you. I'm sorry. And then I'll come back and see who's here. But I still want to show you. Oh, no, now it's behind a tree. But it's starting to come out from the other side of the tree. I don't know if this will work, but let's see. It's in between the two trees. I know the camera's not showing it, but it's so pretty. Right now, it's so misty out with little tiny drops of rain that the light is coming through very diffused. So it was really pretty. Sorry, I won't show you again. It's very hard for me not to share. All right, so let's see who's here. And hopefully I'm going to remember what I was talking about. I hope. This is what happens when I don't write an agenda. So Lisa, hi, sweetheart. Oh, yes, I do hope everyone had a nice holiday too. And I haven't done anything to I forgot to bring a couple things down, but I haven't done anything to prepare for Myrtle Beach. So I will be busy girl the next 2 weeks because that's all we have is like 2 weeks before we have to go. Be ready. I don't know. It's crazy. 2.5 weeks. Okay, so then Mary's here. And Bonni, I hope you got a Christmas card from me. And I tried to do a little bit of origami, but I'm no good at origami. But I have been wondering if you got that Christmas card from me. So Mary, Bonni. Oh, it's so good. It's Joni. Hi, beautiful lady. Oh, it's so nice to see all of you. Yeah, it's been rainy here, so I was wondering if. Oh, I can't wait. I've got a little video to show you about the animal pillows, and I can tell you a little bit more about them. You had snow and the rain melted it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it's so good to see my Mary, and y'all are just The cat's like you taking out their blanket to try and dry it outside. Oh, but where's the replacement? Yeah, how many blankets would you have to try to keep them always dry? So Debbie is here. Oh, it's so oh, thank you. The boys already, it was so cute. They took him to bed with them because I had him overnight and it was wonderful. In fact, I need to call Michelle Lang. I promised her a phone call, so I've got to do it. I want to do it. So 64 clouds, occasional drizzle in Augusta. Wow. Kathy Klein. Hi, sweetie. Yes, I got a fabric kit. I know the sky is not going to show you anything, but it's killing me here. It's so beautiful the way it's breaking through the thick clouds. I'm going to try it with the camera. But this is killing me not to share this with you. Because, when it's been gloomy and rainy for a couple of days, let me see if I can get this photo. I think that, yeah, it doesn't want to show up on the camera either. And it comes in and out so often that catching it when it's perfect is tricky. Let me see. Let me see if I got it at all. Nope. The camera, that's where there's nothing like a pair of human eyes because the camera just can't get what our eyes can get. They're pretty great eyes. I'm glad I got a good report on mine. All right, so good to see Kathy Klein. You keep losing your connection, Bonnie. I'm sorry. And if I can get upstairs, I want to bring down some fabric that I got. And because you know how I've loved this color wash quilt? Well, I got something that's going to be super easy and is going to just let me really explore the whole swirl of colors idea. So, Debbie's, your granddaughters are coming from Texas tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all have had the flu. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got my shots, but I hope they'll work for this year. And you got slippers and a new book to read. That is so nice. Perfect for this weather. You can just kind of hunker down and enjoy yourself. Yeah, that's true. Your son's, Polly, hi. Son's there from Boston. Wonderful. The Siberian Wind. How cool. I have a feeling we might know that person, but I love that name. That's wonderful. All right, let's see. And then Mara is here. So good to see Mara. I know you hate those ads, but it told me that right now, as it stands, I was getting $21 a month. And I'd like to bump it up a little more so that we can do more exciting things. So just try to keep it in mind a little. Now, I don't know, some of you are probably very savvy with YouTube, but you can do something where you watch, the ad comes up and watch for it to say next. When you click on next, it shortens the ad down to 4 seconds. Okay. So if you see all that, there's little ways you can shorten it. But if I can get, I've been doing this for almost 8 years and I've never monetized it. But now it would really help because I was looking for some new books for new ideas for us. And I found a great used bookseller. I can get them for only $5 a piece. Some of them might have shipping. But see, if I could bump up my earnings a little bit more, I would have a lot of new content coming in. Because I don't know about y'all, but I don't really get, the only magazine I get anymore is Quilting Arts Magazine. And I used to get a lot of my ideas from magazines. So, that's neat. A man whose wife painted eggs. Oh, I love that. I love those. That is so neat. So, see, let me know. I don't want to lose anyone here because of the ads, but it would really help. I was talking about yes, okay. So I was talking about monetizing. Thank you for y'all. I love it when you're trying to get a message through to me if you put it in all caps like Mary did, because it makes it so easy for me to spot it from a distance. So yeah, so I'm excited, but I'm really not yet. Oh, Bonnie, I mailed that the 22nd. So if you don't get it, let me know, because there's a little surprise inside. So, okay. You don't have a problem with the ads. Thank you. Bonnie does a lot. It's like Mark and I and Bonnie, we love YouTube. We watch so many things on it, and you kind of get used to it. And but it's nice. Thank you. But anyway, which would include commercials, I think. Yeah, if I'm going to monetize my channel, that's the only way I can get money from it. But you just released a pattern for a temperature quilt. That's a double wedding ring. Oh, that's cool. So where can people find you, Siberian Wind? Where can people find you if they like I've seen the temperature quilt and they're really amazing, but I just wonder, that takes some dedication. But I don't, if it's called temperature rings, that sounds really cool. Really cool. Okay, Joso's. Hi, sweetheart. Joso's is here. Now, see, Marcia's not here. So either her son's visiting or maybe she didn't get my message yet. Okay, here is a oh, good. Here, let's see. I'm on YouTube at the Siberian Wind. Make sure to mention they need to put it in with no spaces. So the Siberian Wind on YouTube, no spaces. Okay, everybody? Well, that'll be fun. I will have to check that out. So I want to know, here's confession time. If you get a package in the mail or somebody gives you a gift and it has tissue paper in it, like this, do you take that tissue paper, which may have been crumbled, but as long as it is not torn up too badly, do you take and iron it and then put it in your tissue paper drawer? Because I am so cheap. I will admit I recycle, reuse tissue paper, because you can buy, I know you can buy it from the dollar and stuff store and stuff, but then I have to go out and waste time to go shopping, and I don't like to waste time. So I just thought I would say, does anybody else, you save tissue paper? Good, good. I save the gift bags, the tissue paper, all that stuff. Oh, and I forgot to tell you. Okay. All right. Well, I can't wait to see the Siberian Winds store. I just thought I would show you. I forgot to put my hearing aids in. Not that I need to hear y'all, but it helps me not talk so loud. So, right red, this one has a red dot, so it goes in the right ear. I have gotten so used to these that when I take them out at night, it's like the world just disappears. And sometimes that can be good. But for the most point, I feel like I'm missing something. But see, I can even put them in pretty good now, too. And I have tiny little ears. So it's always hard, it's always been hard for me to find little tiny things to put. I mean, my right in there is just tiny. All right. As the ear doctor told me when I was 34, you have incompetent eustachian tubes. I thought, how dare he? So, yep, that's my claim to fame. He even told me I can't go scuba diving and because it would rupture my eardrums. And he said I could never be a piano tuner. Now, I had never thought about being a piano tuner, but just knowing that I couldn't upset me. um oh, since watching me you save everything. Oh, I tell you, and when Mark and I ever downsize, because we'd like to go live closer to the ocean or lake, we're going to have to downsize because we're only going to be able to afford a baby place. It's going to be hard. It is going to be hard. I'm going to have to give up. I mean, look at that. There's a bag over there with stuff and fabric and oh, I know what I wanted to show you. I made this, I guess, 2 years ago, and this year I picked out some little baby pom poms, and I decorated it. And how I made this tree, this is from my Polonia tree in the backyard that has those gigantic leaves. And this tree automatically has a hole right down through the center. And so what I did is I took a bunch of, for whatever reason, I had bought some artificial flowers. And so I had the wires left and I saved them. And so what I did is I taped them. I knew how tall I wanted the tree to be. So I took um, floral tape and taped these wires into the shape of a tree. Then I took wool that I had, some wool, cut it into thin strips and tied it on the branches. And it's supposed to kind of imitate the old fashioned feather trees where people used to use their chickens' feathers and make what looks like a Christmas tree that lasts forever. And my daughter had made one of these, and I fell in love with it. So the one thing is you kind of have to. I had it laying in my basket, and when you do that, it can get a little scrunchy. But Mark thinks this is the ugliest thing ever. I love it. I love my little wool strip tree, and if you can't afford the wool, you can use felt. You know, buy the felt sheets, especially since they're so thin nowadays. And oh yeah, it did get kind of flattened here and there. But let me put it up a little higher and this a little higher. But anyway, I love my little tree. So I brought this down because in the next week, all of my decorations could go packed away because I've got a Myrtle Beach quilt trip to go to. So, okay, I during show and tell, I will show you those animals I made. Now, let me give you just a quick little overview of making those. It's a Grinch tree. Exactly, Bonnie. I love that. I love it. So, now you need to save wire and felt. So, yeah, you can buy felt by the yard. And so you could, and I tried using several different colors of green. I think next time I would just stick to one color because it tends to make it look like it's faded or something, and it's not. But it didn't. I thought I was making it more realistic, and really, boy, that sky is really gray now. It looks like snow. I know we're not going to get any. We got no snow last year. It was very sad. Very sad. But anyway, all right. So making these animal pillows. When my girls who are 46 and 44, when they 44, when they were little, when they were like 4 and 6 or 6 and 8, I made them, they were in love with panda bears. So I took and I got that Sherpa kind of flannel, not flannel, fleece, and it kind of looks like sheepskin. But it's real soft and easy to wash and everything. And I got some of that fabric, and I took a regular pillowcase. Now this time with the boys, I went ahead and used some older king size pillows we had that we weren't using. And the king size is what I based the fabric on. And I got fleece, and I got gray fleece for the elephant and cheetah fleece for the cheetah. And I had to end up buying a blanket kit to get the good cheetah fleece, but that was important. So I did that. And then I took the fabric, and fleece comes nice and wide, usually 60 inches. So I made a cover the size of the pillow. And then I put a zipper in the bottom if they needed to wash it for some reason. And it's going to be tricky washing the heads, but I put a 22-inch zipper on the bottom, and it actually a 20 or 18 or 19-inch zipper would have been plenty. So it's the size of a king size pillow. Then I left the top, what's going to be the top, I left it open. Then I took, and I've got a picture I can show you of me making the face, because I said, okay, I drew out what I wanted. I got a bunch of pictures for inspiration, because I don't really know exactly what a cheetah looks like in my brain. So I had to look at photos. And what was cute is my 4-year-old grandson, Donnie, wanted to know, how did I make them? And so I showed him my inspiration photos, and he was fascinated. And I said, I looked at that, and then I knew how to try to cut it. And for the most part, it worked. There's a couple things would change if I could. The cheetah's eyes needed to be dropped down a little bit, and I probably wouldn't have used so much fabric marking on the elephant. But, it's kind of these things that I just did pandas before, and I didn't know about marking fabric. So this would have been back in the 1980s. And so that was a long time ago. But my daughters loved their panda pillows, because they would throw them on the floor and lay on the floor and watch TV. And they, a lot of times, would put their head on the animal's head. And so that's, I thought, I want to do. Now, I made the mistake of asking my son to ask his boys, what animal would you like? Hey, Mark. Uh-huh. Hi, sweetheart. If you go upstairs, could you do me a favor? Yeah. You know the fabric that I got from Santa? Yeah, the box near the tree? Yes, yes. Okay. Could you possibly throw it down if you... Bring it down, yeah. No, thank you, sweetie. Yep. So I've got some pictures when we do show and tell where I can show you the stages. But I realized I wanted them to look pretty realistic in a way, but not scary. And so I made a separate muzzle for the cheetah that then I sewed. I made the muzzle so I could get the shape right, stuffed it, and sewed it on the face base. Because I started out with just the head, the ear shapes coming around, and I put a muzzle on top of that. And I got safety noses, safety eyes. The eyes I had to take in color to get the color I wanted. And I even used some of my fabric markers to give a better color for the cheetah's face. So I'll show you that too. Then when it came to the elephant, I took the ears I had made so big, and I realized he's only 4 right now. So I trimmed the ears down a wee bit, called it a baby elephant. And I took some of this foam. There's a type of closed cell foam that you can actually sew through. And I had, as it comes in with packages, I save it because I know I'm going to use it for something. Guess what? That gave a little more stiffness to the ears, so the ears didn't just flop down. They stay out like that. And then, so I used a sheet of that closed cell foam that's very flexible, but had a little bit of width to it. And then I put batting on either side. I enclosed the batting over the closed cell foam. Then I stitched that on one half of an ear. So then when I put the ears together and turned it inside out, then when I did the quilting marks on it to show the definition of the ear, it held everything in place. So, and then I'm trying to keep these lightweight because these are, 4 and 5 year olds holding it. So then I took and made the trunk separate. And I ended up putting the trunk came down to about this shape. I put a piece of fabric in like this and stitched it around to show the opening of the trunk. And then I took my fabric markers and painted it darker so that, it looked a little bit more realistic. Then I had ordered some of this foam comes in sheets. And I didn't realize one of them was a sticky back. The other one that I used wasn't. So I thought, how am I going to make a little tusk? A little tusk. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
I took out all the bee bobs and doodads.
Oh, good, good. And so, oh, thank you. And I got a new basket because this basket goes up and down the stairs with me every week. And let me see see right there, it is coming apart. And that happens because scissors cut through. And so this whole side is coming apart. So, but I have used that basket for quite a few years. But anyway, I took this and cut it into shape so I could make an ice cream cone shape for the tusk. And I couldn't remember where I had put this one, but I thought the other one was a peel and stick. It wasn't. Only this one was. And so I cut a shape to make like a roll up, make an ice cream cone. And then I used super glue. And super glue is great on stuff like this. So it held really, really well. Then I stuffed it with some stuffing, polyester stuffing. Then to get the seam to lay, because I knew I couldn't sew it with my sewing machine. I wouldn't be able to get into the tiny end. So then what I did to give it a little more shape and to make that seam lay flatter, I took my iron and heated it half heat, and then took the iron while I held that tusk and just kind of put the heat on it coming down that seam. It helped me to keep it curving, to make it curve, and it smooth. It just was warm enough to kind of smooth down, slightly melt that seam just a little. So that's how I made the tusk. And then I had to flatten the top so I could get it stitched in. The trunk itself, I cut a separate piece of fabric. When I first started to put it on, it was too small right here. And when I look back at the picture of the elephant, the way their face kind of comes out right below their eyes, their face kind of comes out, and that's all to support the trunk. So I took and cut another piece of fabric and made a seam. And I first thought, oh, I hate that seam. But I said, whoa, that seam looks like the wrinkle marks on the nose from, moving all around. So it was perfect. And I highlighted it with the marker and then drew some other lines with the marker. So I got that ready, and then I had it stuffed, and I stitched that down. And then I'll show you in a picture where I took some more of the gray flannel and tried to make an outline of the eyes, because elephants' eyes are kind of recessed and they have all this skin around it. And then and for the iris of these little fake safety eyes, they had these little rings of glitter material. Well, by the time I got to the um, elephant, I only had a silver glitter one and a gold glitter one. So I just had to work with those markers. I used Sharpies and work with the color to try to make them both match. And they did. It worked out. But I love that. So the ears were part of the head. Okay. The head came down like this. I wish I had sewed the head a little deeper into the pillow, but I left a lot of fabric to kind of help support that head. And what I did is, oh man, I had cuts, scratches all over this hand because I carefully pinned the right sides of the head together. And I stitched all around the outside. Then I turned it inside out. And then I took and quilted on the machine the lines in the ear so that all the stuffing in that sheet of closed cell foam would stay in place and give definition to the ear. Then I stuffed the head. I made sure I put the eyes on before I sewed the head together. And then I stuffed the head, sewed a line across the bottom to keep the stuffing in there, then had the pillow part inside out, stuck the head. The head had to be inside the pillowcase and sticking up like this, and then I sewed across. And I was so tired. I worked solid on those for 2 long days. And I wish I had the head of the elephant down a little bit more in that pillow, but I did the best I could. And so then with the zipper open and it was, right sides together, I stitched both heads. I told Mark that I was picturing the little boys laying on those or taking a nap and wanting to have something to hold on to. Well, with the cheetah, I had one little paw, and I put his on the other, where the other paw would go, I put his tail. Because I said, a little paw or a tail. A tail's so cool. So Mark, though, could not get over that. He said that is the oddest looking thing. It makes him look deformed. I said, doesn't matter. That long tail, that can become a sword, all kinds of imaginary things. And then I thought, okay, how do I make the bottom of the tail look darker? Because the very last few inches of a cheetah's tail has longer black fur on it. And I looked for yarn, couldn't find any black yarn here. I was trying to do it with stuff I had here. So I ended up taking a Sharpie. And first I took a very thin one and just started making what looks like tail hairs. And then I used the heavier one over that. It worked. And I had to make sure to air it out good enough. I didn't want it to smell like Sharpie. And then for the elephant, I didn't put any, since he already had the tusk, he had something for the child to play with. So what I did is put a little elephant tail on him. And so it came out. And then for the end where they have a little tuft of hair, I just took and cut the fleece, like this. So it looked like fur on the end. That fleece, I tested it first to say, okay, how's this going to do? And the way I cut it on the grain, it was nice and strong. So that's how I did that. And it was fun. It was challenging. I sat in that chair so many hours. Mark just took care of everything, said, you just sew those. And my feet swelled and everything because I just sat in those chairs for so long. But it was worth it. It's one of those once in a lifetime. When my son, who's now 38, and when he was about 8 years old or 10 years old, I made him a white Power Ranger costume. And then when he was 17, I made him a red satin zoot suit. And those were the other two. And then made one of my daughter's wedding dresses. Those were the toughest things I've made. So I'm now taking a break. So anyway, but no. No, I'm going to take a good break. I love, and the basket I showed you, I like promoting these. These are the fair trade baskets. and I find them priced very reasonably. They're made beautifully. It's what I've always used ever since I first saw one about 15 years ago. But these are the fair trade baskets, so they're made in different countries. They're made so that the person making them will get a fair price, consistent, and then it is sold out to other people who honor that fair price so that they have a market. And I love that. So a lot of times they're made in Ghana and different places, and it can make the difference in a family having food or not. So I think this one, I'm trying to remember the price, but it was maybe 40 or 40 something, which it's a big basket, has leather, nice braided leather handles, and it has support in this rim. So it should last a long, long time. But I love, love, love baskets. Okay, then I'm going to start some 3D hand embroidery. And Bonni, don't look. I know you're very loyal to DMC, and I don't blame you. But I got a pack of the inexpensive ones because I needed bulk. And then, thank you for Joni asking me. Oh, I have more stuff to tell you too. Our Jody got a really perfect answer, a report back from her latest cancer recheck. I did too. Now, ladies, I don't know why. I think I do know why. This was the first time I've gone a whole year between cancer rechecks. I didn't realize how comforting the prior ones were because I first started out going every 3 months, then every 6 months. And this is the first time I went a whole year without a check. And I thought I might have had a kidney stone recently, which is how they found the cancer to begin with. So I turned into a real ninny and was very afraid, so afraid that I finally told Mark I needed him to go to the doctor with me because I was just afraid. So I went and had the CT scan. They, use the IV because they put contrast in, radioactive contrast, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. And the doctor that I saw said, well, you're 4 years out now, kind of letting me know that the chance of me getting cancer from the original cancer is probably not very high if it's been 4 years. But it's funny, he hadn't had a chance to look at the films until I was sitting there and Mark was there with me, and he showed me the film and said, okay, this is what position you were in, that's your feet were that way, and thank you. And then he said, okay, and here's where your old kidney used to be, and there's no lumps or bumps, nothing growing in there, no enlarged lymph nodes. And then here is your remaining kidney, and see how it's nice and smooth, no lumps or bumps or whatever. But it was awfully, I wish I could go back again and see the films again because it was really cool looking. But I just was waiting for him to say, you're fine. And I was so nervous when I got out of there. I was like, and I said, Mark, you don't know how afraid I was. Every time I had an ache or pain, I was sure the cancer was back. And he was like, oh, hon. And I hear that word, and it had always been my big fear that I would get cancer. And when I did, I thought, no, please. But let me tell you something. I read an article recently that even people with stage 4 cancer are living 10 to 15 years. Not everyone, but a lot of people. The new immunotherapies are amazing. It used to, I used to hear people say, oh, if I ever get cancer, that's it. I don't want any treatment. I'm just gonna, that's it. I know. I tell you, I would fight every time because the new treatments that are coming out are amazing. They're training your body to spot the cancer and fight it itself. So please, 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 even if it's a serious one, there you go. Yeah. So our mayor understands because she got a good report recently herself, and it's wonderful. So don't give up, and try to fight it if you're up to it. I would never tell anybody what to do, but now the tests and treatments are so much better. So I just wanted to let you know that. So now I'm going to bring the camera over here to show you the fabric Santa gave me. Now, I told you about my color wash quilt, who I've had people say, "Where do I get that pattern? Oh, I love that quilt." And I am so grateful that they love it too. And my color wash quilt was based on a quilt style, um, Terry Rowland. Terry Rowland. If you go to her channel on YouTube, that's where I got the idea. And Kate Jackson from The Last Homely House got the idea. And we each did our own take on it. And so, but Terry Rowland has a wonderful several videos about it that's just amazing. I wanted to tell you, I ordered this fabric from boutiques, etc. And look, I told her it was going to be my Santa to myself. Look how they wrapped it. Was that sweet? So, okay. This is a Hoffman fabric. And if you notice, do you remember when they had the big dahlias that you could then enjoy to sew? Well, it's a takeoff on all of their different floral. Let me see what it's called. It's called Dream Big Tiles, a Hoffman Spectrum print, which means it's digitally printed. And it was by Jeannie Summerall Agero. And so I just thought I would tell you it's Hoffman. And I got it very reasonably priced and from boutiques, etc., in Wytheville, Virginia. And I even asked them, is there any way I could have a half of a yard of each one, or actually 5/8 of a yard? And she said, no problem. They were so nice. And I got this within 3 days, not long before Christmas. But I wanted to show you, let me grab a ruler here. And each of these squares, I must have turned off okay. Each of these squares is 2.5 inches. Okay, so that's 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Well, what my thought is, since I had so much fun with the color wash quilt, is to cut these squares and use them for my fabric. Take care, Miss Bonni. You are the sweetheart. Thank you, hon. Yes, and oh, definitely. Nobody leave until I can talk to everyone about our Wednesday Jitsi sew. So what I'm now, if you know anything about quilting, you have to leave 1/4 inch all the way around. So I wanted to get like a bunch of different colors. And so by buying 5/8, and you always know when they cut it, it's not going to be exactly on the line. But by getting 5/8, well, it gives me a full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows every other one. But you understand what I'm saying. These are going to be 2.5 inches. But well, I said at first, yeah, I understand, Mary, and let me know. It might be where it is too much, but the ads, it would give me more income by waiting and just doing the reruns. But I will see if it doesn't really increase my income much, then I will disable them Oh, how often are y'all getting them? Oh, because I'm only getting. I found out what my monthly income would be, and it's $26. And I was hoping, well, maybe if I run them during the show, maybe that would bring it up. But if it only brings it up a little bit, then I'll cancel it during the show. But I'm just trying right now to see how this is going to work. Anyway, this is the lime green fabric. I'm not quite folding this right, but these stores always have a really interesting way of folding them. Then here is the orange one, and I think they call it gold. Then look at this gorgeous blue. Oh, good. Thank you, Polly. I was hoping they wouldn't be. Look at that gorgeous blue. And then teal, a lovely, lovely teal. Then this green. Isn't this cool? It is really cool fabric. And then um, I love this beautiful red. This was called persimmon, then fuchsia or magenta, and then purple. Now they had a gray, but I said, nope, I just want all the colors. What I'm going to try to do is cut out the 2.5 inch squares, plus actually it'll be 3 inch, so I can have a 1/4 inch on either side. I'll cut them out, and then, but first I'm going to try to find a really good inspiration, um, a color placement inspiration, that's I can really get complex doing this one. So, oh, thank you, hon. I'm really gonna try. I'm if it would give me a substantially more money, then that's more things I can do with y'all. So, because I didn't mind spending the money when Mark was working, and but now that he's going to be retired, I feel like that then we're totally on um what do you fixed income, and I don't, then I get a little nervous, about spending the extra money. So we're going to be fine, but I just would like to be supporting myself here. So anyway, but that's what I got from Santa. Now, real quick, because I with Bonni leaving, it made me stop and think. We are going to do a Jitsi 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. chat this Wednesday. And anybody and everybody is welcome. So if you aren't a member, we have a free groups IO, and so you've been on, yes, it's called salary. At least with Mark, he had every other week he got a bonus because he was so good at his job. Well, that's gone. No more bonuses. And no more three. You know how twice a year you get 3 paychecks? You get that extra paycheck? That's gone too. When you do monthly, it's just 12. That's it. So, yeah, but thank you. It's a tricky thing. So let's just kind of work together, see how it does. It's exciting to make $26 a month, what I've already been doing, but I'd like to see now, so maybe I will bump it up just a little bit. So, all right. So now what I want to say to you is that thank you, Mayor. And what I want to say is if you don't belong to our group or you don't know how to find it, send me, and it's our time to quilt at twc.com. If you send me an email, I will be checking my email box and I can send you out the link to join us. It is so great to be on Jitsi because we can talk all day if we want, and you don't have to type. You can just talk. And if you want to, we can all be on camera and you can see everybody. Or if you're a little bit shy, no problem. Just talk and leave the camera part off. And I found it very easy to get on and off. And so if you are already a member of our group's IO, which is free, like I say, oh, the sky over here now has got an orangey peach stripe through a lavender sky. So beautiful. And I know my camera probably won't be able to pick it up. All these beautiful things are happening and I can't share them with you. But anyway, I just wanted to let me see if it'll let me. No, I can already tell it's not going to. Ugh. Oh, maybe you'll be able to see. Let me turn this off for just a second. Okay, let's see. All right, let me show you this. Come on. Can you see? Whoops. Can you see out the window? Can you see how it's kind of purpley with that peachy pink? And it's not even as pretty as it really is. It's really pretty. Mark said that earlier today they had a severe thunderstorm watch, and we have one of those weather radios because we always went camping and we always like to know if a big storm was going to come up when we were camping. I gave everyone a punch balloon, then realized when someone is sitting beside you punching on the balloon, you want to strangle them. So it's like, okay, everybody, put up your punching balloons. Nana made a mistake on that one. But anyway, so I'm going to take this, put this back over here. But that was nice. All right. So we're going to have a New Year's Day sit and chat. You can come in and leave whenever you want. No obligation, no worries. The main reason I'm doing it, that I wanted to do it, of course, yeah, it's to spend time with y'all, but also my annual Merry Mayhem mystery, New Year's Day mystery. I love this. I've been doing this for almost 20 years and I do love it. So I went over and I grabbed some fabric that I had in the closet, and it had been a kit, but I said to make a different kind of quilt. I said, I don't have to make that quilt. So I'm going to use this fabric from a kit that I have had for years, and I'm going to use it now for my Merry Mayhem. So I am going to, oh, this is a kit from Connecting Threads, and I wish I knew the date of it. This has got to be 10 to 15 years old, and it's going to be one. I love blues and tans, so this is going to be lovely. All right, so it's Mystery Quilt Case 149. What size? I'm thinking, Joe, I'm going to try the nap size. Now, I've had people say, well, Deb, how do you know if you'll like it? Well, honestly, in all my years of making mystery quilts, there have been two or three I really didn't like. And what I do with those is I pass them on to someone else who would like them. But I thought this time I'm going to use a fabric I really like, because if you use a fabric you really like, you'll like the results. And even if, it's simplistic or wonky or whatever. And I have quite a stash, and not as much as a lot of people, but for me, I feel very lucky. And because I've been building this stash for 30 years. So I feel like if I like the fabric, I'll like the results. If not, I'll be offering it to one of you. And so what she's done is the very part one came out that gives you hints on what kind of fabrics. She wants you to use one light color. So if I don't have enough in here, I might just go pick out some nice muslin type color and go with it. But um, but she gives you hints of what kind of yardage, what kind of fabric, and pay attention to those hints because she knows what she's talking about. She doesn't want you to use nothing busy in the light fabric. Now that's important to know because this might be too busy. A lot of times when she says don't make it busy, it's because it's going to maybe be used in quarter square triangles. Like this one, not nearly as busy. It's more monotone. So that's a good thing to know. But kind of read what she says. And when she says use one fabric for the light, that's what I'm going to do. Even if this has got light, busy fabrics, I'll pull it aside for something else or to do part of the outer border or the backing. So, but she, in the mysteries, they will, and this is a free mystery. Now, she has an area that you can donate because for her to pay the website to run this live the actual day, it cost her money. So because I like to give her a couple dollars and there's a donation link. But she doesn't charge. You don't have to pay to do this. And I just think what a gift that is. And what she'll end up doing is after this is done, this New Year's Day, then she'll take and put this in her patterns you can buy. And so that's why if you're doing this New Year's Day, make sure you download or print each page if you want to finish it. Otherwise, you'd have to purchase it later. So, and this is her case number 149. That tells you how many of these things that she has done. But the number one, the very first thing, and you don't have to make this, and you don't have to make this when you show up on the Jitsi Wednesday. If you want to paint, that's fine. If you want to knit or crochet, wonderful. I'm going to be sitting at the machine all day doing this. And I thought, why not do a Jitsi? And in fact, I'll be upstairs in my upstairs sewing room and you'll get to see my new machine. So new to me that I bought from a lovely lady named Carol. And I just dearly love that machine. And I've decorated it a lot. You'll have to wait. Come in Wednesday and see what I've done to that sweet machine. So anyway, and it gives you options to do crib, nap, twin, or queen. Nap kind of means throw size. And so usually I never would do a mystery in a queen or king. But in saying that, if you start out to make like a nap size and you really end up liking it, then keep on going and keep making it larger. It just means you might have to try to figure out the fabric. But these are just fun. So then on Christmas Day, she put out part number 2, and you actually get to start sewing. And these are half square triangles. And the reason I love mysteries, I'm a very impulsive, impatient person. And when I get a pattern and I'm going to make the quilt, like this kit came with this pattern piece. I get so excited that I rush into it because all I can think about is the finished project. Well, that leads to sloppy piecing. And I've told y'all before, I am a sloppy piecer. So by using this method of mystery quilts, you're given one step at a time. It helps me focus and make that one step better. You know what I'm saying? And that really, I've learned more from doing mysteries than any other method of quilting, even classes, because I'm focused on that one step, not what's coming up next. All right. So we are running low on time, so I want to go look at the show and tell. And then I'll show you some more pictures of those sweet animals that I made. And thank you. I'm sorry I was running late today, but I thank you for joining with me. And we'll go back next Sunday to our regular 3:05 p.m. And all right, let's get this set up. Turn the microphone a little to the side. All right. Let's go see what we've got for photos. All right. Take care, Miss Joni. All right, there. It was so good seeing you. So here we go. Here was just the head part of the cheetah. And I couldn't really see it here, but when I got it all stuffed and put together, I wish I had dropped the eyes down about another inch or half an inch. But that's stuff you learn as you do it. And but he wanted a cheetah, and I was nervous about how am I going to do a cheetah. I just accidentally pulled out the charging. Hold on. This camera would soon run out unless I plug it in. Oh, come on. Silly thing. There we go. Got it plugged in, so we got good service. All right, so here's the head of the cheetah when I was working on it. And you can see how this part was a separate piece that I stuffed. Okay, here is the elephant head. And you can see how I took fabric and scrunched it to make the recess of his eyes. Here is where I used that sheet foam to make his little tusks. And here is his trunk that I ended up putting this extra fabric on right here so it would go a little higher on his head. All right. Then here he is, mostly done. I did a little bit of face painting on him, but you can see how the ears hold themselves nicely because of putting in the foam sheet, and so there he is. And then here is the cheetah put together, and Mark wanted me to show you that this was one paw, but this is his tail, and he thinks it looks odd. Mark has a very logical brain, and of course I'm very artistic, so but there's Mark holding both of them, and I'm really happy to say the boys loved them. So all right, here are some little ornaments I made. One of Mark and I for the wedding we had in May. And this is for my daughter in law who loves purple, and the grandsons, all of that. And here I did the family photo at the wedding, a little political one, a 2024. And I loved this. I took and printed these and put them on the ornaments. And one said, it was just a harmless hobby I had. No idea it would come to this. That's the truth. But here's ornament. I put a sticker on one of the balls and just decorated it for one of the grandsons, and another one. And this is a box of stuff I gathered from my daughter Katie, and I'm gonna mail it to them. Then the grandsons were over. They spent a night with me, and we did the air dry clay. And I thought it'd be really cool to take these biodegradable not circus peanuts, oh gosh, little peanut packing things, but they melt too much. So, okay. I thought, well, we can wet them and stick them together. No, that too much. And there's my grandson Russell. This one's Donnie. We had the best time. Donnie's doing cowabunga. I heard cowabunga about 50 times in 24 hours, but they're so cute. They're well behaved. They're very polite, and they're imaginative and funny. So it was a great time to spend with them. And this is a tent that Russell made. So we had to make sure to take a good picture of it. Then I gave them this domino train we had a lot of fun with that. And I showed them some videos of the domino competitions. And here I am. And that's the sunroom we were sitting in doing the clay work. And then here we are in this little den. And I think I have, oh, this was in the Washington Post. A couple heard a sound in their chimney. And then the next thing they knew, the dog was going crazy. An owl flew into their house and perched on their tree. And they had to end up getting some resource officer who came in and let me see, is that it? A resource. Oh, here we go. Hear it, but and then my little Blossom just loved those boys. But I was getting ready to take them over to my daughter's where the parents were staying to meet back up with them. But they were so much fun. That's the first time they stayed with me all by themselves, so it was fun. Okay, so show and tell. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. Bonnie has a few wonderful Christmas things. This was, I bet you she's finished this Noel now. And then a lovely Merry Christmas. Then lovely black work, a baby dragon. Look at this. She's involved in so many block exchanges, and look at that. I'm so glad she sent me a better picture that we can really see the beauty of her work. It is amazing. Thank you, Miss Bonnie. You are so talented. Okay. And let me see. I think this was Debbie's newest that I think she sent in. It was wonderful. And let me go back and let's see. Dolores. Oh, I love her woodland. And remember, Dolores is our professional artist. She is so talented. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I can't wait for us to start our hand embroidery project because I've seen some really awesome things with it. Okay, well, let's see. On Jody. Oh, yeah. Oh, and I'm so happy for Miss Jody and her result. And look at this. This is called a Davenport quilt. It is gorgeous. Those colors are simply beautiful. And she did a very good job mitering those corners. Okay. And Joni, no, I think let me see. Let's move on from that. Miss Julie has sent us some amazing things. This was done as for Veterans Day. Beautiful snow-covered veterans. Well, I guess it's like Arlington. Beautiful, beautiful. Then look at that Christmas sleigh, and then this wonderful one that she made for a veteran. And then look at that beautiful snowy church. She really outdid herself. That is beautiful. Okay. So thank you, Miss Julie. And is there someone else? Let me see. Ah, Lisa has her colorway for her Myrtle Beach quilt party. And I think she said she already cut it out. Oh, she's so good. I'll have to play catch up. That's a beautiful colorway. I love that one. That was one of my top choices. And then Mary did a cute job of picking out leaf montages. Love it. And then she finished block number 12. She's going to beat me to being done with the English paper piecing. And speaking of that, I'm initiating a new quilter. My daughter's mother-in-law, I'm teaching her how to English paper piece. So I'm very excited about that. Now let me see. Did I get anything new from Melton? But this is always worth showing again right here. And don't forget Melton and her wonderful Etsy shop. And she does some beautiful things. Look how far she's come with her quilting. That is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay. And she's the Swan Quilt Art is her Etsy shop. Okay. Now let's see. Who else do we have? My camera's right in front of me seeing good. But oh, Miss Polly. She made this for her son for Christmas. Look at that beautiful tartan. That tartan bed runner. Isn't that wonderful? I love those colors. She has everything she does exceptionally well. Look at that. She did the weaving herself, took yarn and it turned it into that. I'm just amazed. Amazed. So way to go, Miss Polly. You are something else, girlfriend. And Cheryl, she sent some great pictures. Remember the class I was telling you about that they used the resist process and dyes? She took the class from that teacher. And now my mind has reached a blank, but I will find the name for you next week when I show you this. But I used stencils and paint, but she actually used resist and dyeing. Isn't that beautiful? What a great class to take that. And then they had a challenge in her guild. And look at her beautiful challenge. And it says, dinner buffet. All the birds in the tree are the dinner buffet for those kitties. Isn't that great? All right. And I think she has one more. Look at this. That was another project in that class with the resist. Isn't that beautiful? And that's a mandala. Mandala is a circular design like that. And it goes back in history quite a ways. Isn't that beautiful? All right. So let me see. We probably are about at the end of it. Yep. Well, Vicky, let me see. Did Vicky have something new? No, I don't. I think that everybody's been very busy for Christmas. And I definitely understand because I couldn't last week. I thought, I've got to get, Mark even reminded me. He said, Deb, you have to get those pillows done for the boys. They're going to be here Thursday. And he was right. So it's like I had to put everything on hold until I could get those done. And that's kind of what I tend to do. It's like, well, I'll keep trying. And you got to get this done. So he was right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Dinner's ready. Yep. Mark's cooked a ham for us in the oven. So I got to go check out that. Thank you for spending this time with me. Have a great week. Don't forget, Wednesday at 10 a.m. The Jitsi room will be open and we can talk and have fun and visit. Bring some chocolate, something good to drink. So have a great week. I'll see some of you on Wednesday, I hope. Bye-bye, everyone, and a happy new year. Bye-bye.